I'm going to make that 8-ball, bring the cue ball across table and back for the 9 in the corner. I better take a Happy Gilmore swing at it. That's pretty good. 9 in the corner. How come the pros don't play like Happy Gilmore? Well, it's because that kind of play will not produce the consistency and accuracy required to play pool at a high level. But that 8-ball shot, that's an example of installing aiming into your shot routine. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I've made quite a few videos about how to aim. This video is how to install your aiming into your shot routine. In this video, I'll discuss the principles that make it work, demonstrate the process, and give you some practice routines so you can install aiming into your shot routine. But first, why is this important? First, your aim can only ever be as good as your stroke. My Shoot Straight videos explain how and why it is so important to develop deadly straight stroke delivery. Second, as I've mentioned in my aiming videos, aiming is easy, and in just a moment, I'm going to explain how it is that I make that statement. Third, consistency in pool comes about largely by replacing doubt and fear with confidence. The end of the principle section of this video is a primer for building self-confidence. And finally, now my shot routine has about 35 steps in it. Each step of your shot routine is studied and practiced over and over and over again to become repeatable. Now, repeatable means that you can run the program, if you will, without thinking about it. The goal is to free up the maximum amount of your brain power to focus on what is different between each shot. Now, your aim and your cue ball position will be different between each shot, but the process of aiming and playing position is not different. That's the same on every single shot. And that's what installing aiming is about, and what we're going to dig into today.
How long is the coast of Great Britain? Well, it depends on the length of your measuring stick. If the shortest distance you can measure is 200 kilometers, then the coastline is about 2,400 kilometers long. But if you can measure to 50 kilometers, then the coastline is 3,400 kilometers long. Which is the right answer? Let's apply this idea to pool. Here's a ball on the head spot. So it's facing the maximum pocket opening of a 4.5-inch pocket. The margin of error is shown by connecting each edge of the ball to the pocket facings. Now, these two ghost balls represent the contact point margin of error that will still pocket the ball. Connecting the center of object ball to the center of each ghost ball reveals the margin of error of about 4 degrees. A line through the center of the ghost ball and the edge of the object ball is a half ball hit, or a 30-degree cut shot. This means that for cut shots between straight in and 30 degrees, there are less than 8 contact areas on the object ball. Those 8 areas are like measuring Great Britain with a 200-kilometer yardstick. And perfect aim, where the object ball perfectly enters the exact center of the pocket, is like measuring Great Britain with a 50-kilometer yardstick. It's more accurate in theory, but both yardsticks work. The problem with pool is that the object ball contact point is not the end of aiming. Throw, side spin, and deflection all affect the aim point location. And pause the video here if you'd like a brief description of each of those. Take a look at this shot played 3 times. First with center ball, then right spin, and then left spin. Now compare the direction my cue stick was pointed in each case. By the way, my cue stick delivery looked pretty straight, didn't it? We'll take another look. No one shoots as straight as their brain tells them they are. Also, the slightest head rotation from the aim line or vision center misalignment dramatically affects our perception of the cue stick direction and cue tip location. The aim point, cue tip position, cue stick setup, and delivery, along with the effects of throw, side spin, and deflection, make a formula that would give a rocket scientist a headache. Imagine you are down on this shot. Tell me, where are you looking? And what are you thinking about? Pause the video and compose an answer. Did you mention any of these things? Were you thinking about the aim point? Maybe you were thinking, I hope I don't miss this shot, or I'm not sure if this is enough side spin, or I hope the cue ball goes far enough, or a million other things. Boiling it all down, the issues are perception and expectation, and the solution is automaticity.
Automaticity is the ability to perform a skill without conscious thought, and improving the quality and the consistency of our pool shots. Now, how about some practical examples to explain just what the heck I'm talking about? In the same way that we train our physical skills, like how we hold the cue and how we stand and stroke, we can train the mind to aim the same way every single shot. Now, I've mentioned that aiming happens when you're standing up. This is an explanation of how to do that. We don't want to aim while we're down on the shot. From here, I've lost all perspective, and my cue stick has to pivot too much to find the aim point. I'll never be able to stroke straight. This means that aiming is part of your pre-shot routine. Now, this video isn't about the pre-shot routine. It's just about the aiming part of it. And the steps are: sight the object ball to the pocket, sight from the cue ball to the aim point, make a decision about exactly what path you want the cue ball to take, align to the shot. This is where you make a decision about the speed with which you're going to strike the shot, because that informs your grip position and your bridge length. And you make a decision about where you're going to address the cue ball: high, low, center, left, right, whatever it is. Then, while holding your cue stick where you're going to grip it, visualize the shot happening. Now, that might sound like a lot, but it only takes 1 to 2 seconds. And with practice, it becomes much more, you guessed it, automatic. Now, there's only 2 results to every pool shot. Where did the object ball go? Where did the cue ball go? And you just gathered all of the information that you need to answer both questions. Remember, it's the anticipation of the reward that drives the motivation to put in the work. Visualization is the last step, and that's done standing behind the cue ball, looking down the aim line. Now, over time, you're going to develop your own visualization, but I see the shot unfolding before me. And often, I'll visualize 2 lines, one from the pocket through the object ball, and one from the aim point through the cue ball. The line from the pocket is the shot line, and that reinforces reward anticipation. The line from the aim point through the cue ball is the beginning of your movement into the shot entry. That aim line can either intersect the object ball or point past the object ball. If it intersects the object ball, then the shot is between 0 and 30 degrees. If it's past the object ball, it's a thin cut shot of over 30 degrees. The very last thing on your mind before moving into the shot is that aim point. This is the moment where the physical and mental are connected by connecting that aim point to your physical setup, making a conscious recognition of whether you're pointed at the object ball or past the object ball helps to make that connection. Train your automaticity by mentally connecting the aim point to your head, that is, to your vision center. So I'll see that aim line as a line that intersects my vision center. Then the grip, and then the bridge. So we're only talking about the aiming part of your shot routine. I'm not going to talk about where you put your feet and how you get your body rotated and all that. We're talking about the aiming. And it's head, grip, bridge. So when you practice this, you can literally say that to yourself as a mantra. Head, grip, bridge. What am I talking about? Okay. I've done all the steps that I've talked about, and I'm standing behind the shot, and I'm aligned. I'm centered on the shot, and I'm ready to enter the shot. I've visualized it, and I have my grip hand already on my cue where it needs to be. Okay? I'm ready to enter the shot. It's head, grip, bridge. The head moves first, and I just mentally connected my head to the aim point. Some instructors will call it chin lock. Okay? Head, grip. See? My grip is now on the line. So now it's aim point, head, grip, bridge. So before I'm even fully down, aim point, head, grip, bridge. So you can rehearse this. I'm locked on. Head, grip, bridge, down. That is how you're going to train yourself to make the process of staying on line with your aim point automatic by making head, grip, bridge happen automatically every time you shoot. Once you're down on the shot, the rest of your shot routine proceeds as normally. I've talked about those steps in other videos, and I'll make another one that talks about that, the warm-up and final stroke process in detail as well. Basically what happens though is when you're down on the shot, you need to pause before you begin your warm-ups. Your warm-up strokes should be slow and methodical, not all jerky. I know that some players, their warm-up strokes get shorter and they're kind of like doing a fine-tuning at the cue ball, and that's great. There should be another pause, a final pause I call it, before your stroke delivery, and that's involved with something called the quiet eye. I've talked about that in other videos. And then your final backstroke before you shoot, you should pull the cue back very slowly. So it's pause, slow warm-ups, pause, slow backstroke, and then the delivery. There's been a recent video where Jason Shaw talked about looking at the cue ball last, and that's a debate that comes up all the time in pool. Should you look at the cue ball last or the object ball last? And I'll make a video about that topic as well. My opinion is it doesn't matter. But if you've aligned to the shot properly and entered the shot on the alignment, and you've rehearsed your automaticity, when you're ready to shoot, you can close your eyes, and it probably won't make much difference.
Well, that's astonishing.
There you go. No.
In fact, that's one training routine that I'm going to talk about right now, a few ways to train installation of aiming into your shot routine. But first, let me shoot this 3-ball and get position on the 8. I think that'll do nicely. In this video, I've made the assumption that you are at least somewhat proficient at aiming, acquiring the aim point. But maybe you're not. Maybe you need some help, or maybe you're a beginner. Certainly watch my videos about how to aim on this topic. But I also want to mention my products that I invented is called the Ghost Aimer. I've got 2 versions of it, and all it is a transparent plastic tube. You put it next to the object ball in line with the pocket. This one's got a red post that shows you where to aim. It's just that simple. You point your cue stick through the center of the cue ball at the red post, and then you look past that point at the ball. So it'll tell you immediately whether you need to aim at the ball or past it. And then you can also see, just how far I need to aim past the edge of the ball in either direction. So once you've got that information, then you remove the Ghost Aimer,
This is just for the practice tables, not for during games. Once you removed it, then you get behind the cue ball and reacquire that point that you just looked at. How far past the edge of the ball do I need to point my cue? Really helps you to streamline learning aiming. Even if you're an advanced player, there's been times when I've been working on a shot and I might just be wondering, geez, am I really pointed at the right spot? Well, you put your ghost aimer up and you can sight it and look real accurately and see. Version 2 here rotates. And so the top spins and you can point the arrow at the cue ball and it gives you an estimate of the angle of the shot. Now, when you go back to the shot, you remove the ghost aimer and you go back to practice the shot, now you have a much more concrete idea of exactly where you need to point your cue. Now you're approaching your practice shot from a position of knowledge and confidence, not from doubt. So these can be really helpful. If you're interested, take a look on my website. Now let's take a look at some examples of how to practice.
The first shot I want to talk about is a shot that trips up amateurs and pros alike. I've missed this shot a million times, as I'm sure you have. And what I'm talking about is a ball that's, somewhat close to the rail, but you're cutting it to the far corner pocket. This shot trips up a lot of people. Even a lot of pros you'll see miss this shot. And whenever we miss it, where do we miss it? Always to this side, the thick side. We brush the rail and it either rattles or misses the pocket completely. In my opinion, part of the reason why this is the shot's very deceptive. So if we put a cue ball in the same location but to the other pocket, okay, if that's a cue ball, when you're shooting this shot into the near corner pocket, you're aiming much closer to the center of the cue ball. And this is a more common shot. So now you're playing a game and this shot comes up and your brain thinks, oh, I know this shot. The aim point's right there. Well, no, that's the aim point for the close pocket. It's a little bit thinner. The other thing that players do is they're like, okay, I need to shoot this 3-ball, and they might even sight the pocket. Then they stand behind the 3-ball, facing the 3-ball, and they get into their shot, but their initial alignment is either pointed straight at the 3-ball or at the aim point for this pocket. Even then, I brush the rail a little bit. And so that's okay. When you're practicing the shot, this is what you're doing. There might have been a little bit of throw involved in the shot. Maybe I didn't hit the cue ball exactly on center. So we're paying attention to those details as we practice. Based on what the shot that I just shot, I'm going to make sure that I'm aimed right there. And then we repeat. When I get down on the shot, if my cue isn't pointed right at that spot, I stand up and start over. Because we want to get the object ball to go into the center of the pocket. We want to measure the coast of England with the smallest ruler possible. So the practice routine here would be to start with a straight-in shot. When I shoot this ball, I don't want to brush the rail going into the pocket. I don't want to hit the point on the right side of the pocket. I'd like it to go in as cleanly as possible. So if I make that decision before I get down on the shot, I'm much more likely to hit the center of the pocket. So once again, I didn't hit the center of the pocket there. Set it up and do it again. Making a conscious decision of that aim point, and then I'm making sure I'm aligned correctly. Once that's done, Automaticity takes over and I can just run the program. And get a much cleaner result for my shot. The routine is to start from the straight-in shot. Just go one ball diameter at a time. Once I've made that shot cleanly, now I'm cutting the ball a little bit. I've got to adjust what I see as the aim point. I'm no longer pointed at the center of the ball. I'm right there. Take the exercise as far as you'd like. Just move the object ball over one ball diameter at a time. What you're going to notice is that what you think is the correct aim point changes depending on how hard you hit the shot and, of course, how close you are to center on the cue ball. The effects of throw increase as the angle of the cut shot increases. Pay attention to the results of your shot. Where did the object ball go? And where did the cue ball go? I think you'll get a lot out of this routine. The next shot is one you should already be practicing, and if you're not, get on it. This is the Mighty X. It's simply a stop shot diagonally across the table. There's many different versions of it. As far as installing aiming goes, when we practice the Mighty X routine, we usually do it because we're focused on our fundamentals. How am I standing? How am I holding my cue and my shoulders, my elbow, and am I going straight through? And you're working on all those things, and that's wonderful. But as far as installing aiming goes, it's about, like I just mentioned, standing correctly behind the shot, and then don't just aim at the pocket, which part of the pocket you're aiming at. So what you can do to spice up the Mighty X is shoot some shots and decide before you shoot which part of the pocket you want the ball to hit. So I could say, all right, I want to go into the center of the pocket. So I'm aligning to the aim point that's the center of the pocket. I'm measuring the coast of England with the smallest ruler possible. So since I've done that, my alignment when I get into the shot should be there. That was pretty close. It went a little bit to the right side of the pocket. Okay? Let's shoot this one. Let me get it on the spot. Into the left side of the pocket. And even if I'm not able to tell, I'll be able to know based on where the cue ball, the 6 ball in this case, moves. The cue ball should go slightly to the right. See that? We're taking things another step. We're saying to ourselves, making the ball alone isn't good enough. I want to be able to automate the process where if I make the decision, once I make the decision standing up, the program takes over and it happens. And it happens for all the reasons that I've laid out in the video so far. So that's a really good routine. Practice shooting this and making a decision beforehand to pocket the ball center, left, or right. You're really going to see your game improved. And then, as you can imagine, you could apply that same technique to any routine that you already are practicing. The next shot that's going to help you rehearse installing aiming and develop your automaticity is a rail shot. So we practice these all the time already, don't we? We want the object ball, half an inch to an inch off the rail and a slight angle and probably a little less than 15 degrees here. What we don't realize is that depending on what we want to do with the cue ball, the aim point changes slightly. So I'll give you the first example would be, let's say we just want to hold the cue ball here. We don't want the cue ball to travel very far. Maybe my next shot is down here. Maybe my next shot is right here into the side pocket. So I just want the cue ball to bounce off the rail as closely as possible and not travel very far at all. What that means is I'm not going to be hitting it all that hard. So maybe I don't need to aim at the center of the pocket. I can brush the rail and it'll still go in because I know I'm going to hit it soft. That tells me that I'm going to use a shorter grip position than usual and a little bit shorter bridge because I don't need to hit it hard anyway. But all those things inform the aim point. So I'm making that conscious decision. I'm measuring the coast of England with the smallest ruler possible. And now, instead of the exact ghost ball position, I can be right there. So I'm seeing all of those things and measuring all of those things here before I get down on the shot. Now, place my grip. I'm on that aim point, and the automaticity can take over. So that aim point is in one place. Now, the same shot. Let's say that my next ball might be here, and I want to bring the cue ball out, or maybe it's over there, and I just want to stun the cue ball straight across the table. Okay. Well, now I'm going to be hitting it harder and I know I can't brush the rail. So I need to be center pocket or even favoring just a little bit to the left side of the pocket because of that speed. Make those decisions beforehand. I'm probably going to use a normal grip position. And now I'm making sure that I'm aligned to it, and then the program can take over. You can even set this up as a drill for yourself and set a desired position. You might want to hit it once to here, once past center table, and then once to get the cue ball all the way back here. But you're paying attention to your aim point for each of those. As I mentioned, every shot has two components. Where did the object ball go? Where did the cue ball go? You need to make a decision about the cue ball with an exact destination, because that informs your pool shooting computer brain about the exact aim point depending on where I want to hit the pocket. So what if I want to follow forward to the rail and maybe I need my cue ball to stop here? Make those decisions beforehand, establish your aim point, and your automaticity can take over. Pretty close, a little bit off, set the shot up and do it again. You notice that on that shot, my object ball brushed the rail. Therefore, I undercut it a little. That decreased the angle, and that's why my destination ended up here and not here. Same thing for the draw shot. If we just want to draw back maybe past center table, we want everything established before we enter the shot so there's no doubt about what we're trying to do, and then our automaticity can take over and just execute what we've practiced a million times. What if we want to draw closer up here? Now I know I'm going to use a little bit of right English. So you need to practice this shot because that's going to depend on the deflection of the shaft that you're shooting with. That's going to determine the aim point. Again, I'm going to need to stroke it with more speed, so I want to stay away from the rail and aim for the center or the center left part of the pocket from here. I might also want to back my bridge hand up a little bit so that I don't have to muscle into it. Simply back up your bridge hand, take a little bit longer back length of your backstroke, and then just move the cue forward at with the same muscle contraction, and you'll get more power. This routine is a test of installing your aiming. So after you've practiced some shots and you're getting used to the idea, you can just throw the balls out and all you need to do is clear the table. The difference is no warm-up strokes. We're testing how well we're acquiring the aim point and how well we are aligning to it and how well our alignment is once we're down on the shot. So I want to do my entire routine, get down on the shot with the Q-tip at the cue ball. No warm-ups. You just get down, pull your cue back, and shoot. Those of you who have watched Tor Lowry will see some similarities to some things that he teaches. So let's see if I can clear this table. How'd the 4-ball get there? Let's see if I can clear this table without any warm-up strokes. Make all your decisions first, and then let the program take over. That's an easy version of the routine because it's just 15 balls and I'm shooting them randomly. So you can make it a little more difficult by throwing out 9 balls and running them in order. Here's something you can add to any shot routine. I'm playing a game of 9-ball right now. This is an easy layout. There's just the last 4 balls remaining. You can add balls or add complexity to whatever routine you're doing. What we're going to do is run our shot routine the same way we always do our warm-up strokes. We're going to come to our final pause at the cue ball, and then we're going to close our eyes. That is going to help us to increase trust in everything that I've been talking about, and that, yes, indeed, we are aligned correctly to the shot, and our cue is moving straight. So to start, I've just got an easy 6-ball, 2 rails out of the corner, and I'll be heading into position for the 7. First pause, make sure we're lined up. Warm-ups. Everything's going straight. Now I'm going to close my eyes. One thing that you want to add to this routine. We are using our eyes as pool players. This routine is when you close your eyes, installing your aiming. You can start using your ears. Listen. Listen for the sound of the object ball going in the pocket. That sound becomes a reward. And the anticipation of hearing that reward drives your motivation to do everything correctly. It increases trust in the automatic program. Yes, I'm on the aim point. Yes, I'm lined up correctly. Yes, my cue stick is moving straight. That's going to build your automaticity. Now I got to shoot the 7, bounce out a little bit so that I have a nice angle on the 8 to come across for the 9. Make sure we're lined up before we begin any warm-ups. And then eyes closed at the final pause. Now the 8-ball, you'll have to trust me, I'm going to close my eyes. Nice clean shot here. We want to aim for the center of the pocket. We don't need to come like way over here and get straight. Anywhere near center table is going to be just fine. So we're making our decisions. Checking the ball. I've got my 20-meter ruler to make sure that I'm lining up to the correct aim spot. Eyes closed. I heard that go in, and I heard a little bit of a rattle. That tells me that I brushed this point going into the pocket. That's part of what you want to pay attention to when you're doing this routine. You're going to want to put those balls back up in the same position and shoot it again with your eyes closed, this time with every ball entering the center of the pocket. Same thing with this 9-ball. We're trying to increase trust in everything that we're doing. You might be in competition one day and it's hill, and you've got to make this shot, and boy, I don't want to brush the rail and rattle the ball and everything. That's the negativity and the doubt that we don't want. We want only positivity, and we get it on the practice table by rehearsing in this way to increase the trust in what we're doing. Now, when it comes up in competition, I know, because I've done it, that I simply need to sight to the center of the pocket. And I've practiced aiming this shot to the left, center, and the right, because those are different aim points. So now, when it comes up in competition, I know exactly what to do. Aim to the center or just a little to the right. Now I can just run the program with confidence. And I'm practicing, so I'm going to be closing my eyes on this shot to just increase that confidence that what I'm doing is correct. One final tip before I go. I try to teach people that I would rather see you miss a shot with a good, confident, straight stroke than miss a shot with a nervous, crooked one. Everything that I've talked about in this video is installing aiming is helping to increase the confidence that everything that you've done is all the work that you can do to make that shot, and now You need to just deliver that cue. So like I just did on the 9-ball, no trepidation. I don't care if you miss. I want you to be lined up to where you think it's right and to stroke straight and with confidence. And if you miss, good, because then you can evaluate that miss, reevaluate your aim point, and do it again with confidence. As beginners, we all learn how to chalk our cue. And at first you're kind of awkward, you don't know quite how to do it, but it doesn't take long to get a routine, and however you chalk your cue, you just start doing it that way every single shot. In fact, a lot of players, when they chalk their cue and they set the chalk on the table, then they shoot their shot, and before they go to the next shot, they just reach down and grab that chalk. They don't even look. They don't even need to look and just pick it up. It's become an automatic process, and that's exactly what I'm talking about with installing aiming. We learn to do that all with everything about our shot routine, where we put our feet, where we look, etc. And that's what installing aiming is, developing that routine, that automaticity, so that we can just run the program. Happy Gilmore was on to something. You don't want to shoot just like him, but the fact that I was able to just run at the ball and make the shot at the beginning of this video demonstrates the principle that I'm talking about. Install aiming into your shot routine and watch your game move up.